Hello. Today, I want to begin by observing that every system of meditation begins from the observation of the breath, no matter what culture it comes from. All of them. Hindu systems, Buddhist systems, Christian systems, even the indigenous ones, all begin from the process of observing the flow of your breath. Now, that should tell us that this must have something to do with the structure and function of our nervous system, and it does. This is one of the places where neuroscience and the practices of meditation flow very nicely in parallel. When you are aware of the flow of breath in your nostrils, you stimulate the part of your brain that is just behind the center of your forehead. We call this the medial prefrontal cortex, or the middle prefrontal cortex. This is the last part of your brain to evolve, and so it's the most human part. It's the part of your brain that helps you to make choices, which is the big difference between human beings and animals. We can make choices about how we behave. This medial prefrontal cortex has all kinds of important functions, but the main one is that this is the part of your brain that organizes and integrates your whole nervous system from top to toe. And that system begins to operate under your control when you begin to observe the flow of breath in your nostrils. A number of really interesting things happen when you do this. First one is it switches on the parasympathetic relaxation response. Your nervous system has two parts to it. The autonomic part of your nervous system has two parts, sympathetic and parasympathetic. The sympathetic system is the part of you that gets you ready to act. It's the, for all practical purposes, it's the stress part of your nervous system. So when you're confronted by a saber-toothed tiger, it begins to activate you physiologically to get you ready to fight, to flee, or to freeze. The other part of the nervous system, the parasympathetic, is what we call the rest, restore, and relax part of your nervous system. And while the sympathetic part is pretty automatic, you don't have to work too hard to get stressed out. Your stress system is ready to go whenever you're confronted with something. The relaxation system, however, requires a choice. You have to choose, you have to intend to turn that on. And you exercise that intention each time you decide to feel the flow of breath in your nostrils. It turns on a system in your nervous system that begins to relax your body, it lowers your blood pressure, it slows down your heartbeat, and all kinds of other physiological changes follow in the direction of relaxation. So it's a really important function, and it's a really important part of how you learn to relate to your mind and body in such a way that you can remain more relaxed and can remain less stressed out. One of the other important things that happens is there's a part of your nervous system called the default mode network. It's a system of structures in your brain and nervous system that contains all of your conditioning, all of your habits. That part of your system is really important. For example, when you're confronted with a threat like a saber-toothed tiger, it's important to have some prearranged sequences of behavior that enable you to very quickly get out of the way, right? It has real survival value. But of course, the problem we have with many of those habits is that they also keep us activated at times when we really need to be relaxed. And when you begin to pay attention to the flow of breath in your nostrils, very interesting, this default mode network all of a sudden quiets down and goes into the background. So if you want to begin to reprogram the habits that you have in your nervous system, you want to activate your medial prefrontal cortex so that the default mode network becomes quiet. That default mode network is also the place where that little voice in your head lives that's always telling you, I should be smarter, I should be prettier, I should be thinner, whatever it is for you. We all have that critical voice in our head. And that critical voice also begins to quiet down when you begin to observe the flow of breath in your nostrils. So that's a good beginning. And we'll do some practices that exercise your ability to do that in just a bit.